he just wanted me off. He gave me warning 1, warning 2, warning 3, you know.
We're not going to be able to save this horse. Like, he's not going to let us do this. And like, we needed help.
There were many points where I was scared to ride Gabe.
I mean, she goes, what if Gabe just needed someone to believe in him? And we both about cried, because...
Hey guys, welcome back to another video. In this one, we took a little bit of a different turn based on your comments. We've had a lot of comments about wanting to see follow-up videos with these horses that I use on the channel. And this particular one was a good example of a lot of horses that are owned by my Patreon members. And so we did a series with him on my Patreon page. And I thought we'd do a bit of a recap showing Gabe and his story and how we were able to continue his development and then what he's going to be doing moving forward in the future.
So when Gabe first came to the barn, almost immediately I was super excited. I was like, oh my gosh, this one's going to be great. He seemed so chill, you know, on the ground. This is all on the ground. Lesson horses at our facility, I kind of joke that they're misfits. They're my little misfit herd. We try our best to teach beginners sort of the natural horsemanship way. So when I'm looking for horses, I look for a horse that has a good brain. Can have quirks. All of my horses here, all of the horses here have quirks. But we use those, as long as they're safe quirks, we use them to teach. And it's good to have different personality types. So we were told that Gabe had some dressage training. That's all we were told, but hadn't been ridden for 5 years. Immediately I could tell though, there was trauma with the training.
When I first rode Gabe, I think he had been here a month, maybe? Beth had ridden him once and was like, you should try him. Just sit on him. He seems super fun. And so I popped on him. You know, there were some things that we knew were issues right off the bat. Like, he didn't really have a stop. He struggled with like turning. So, you know, you don't have brakes, you don't have power steering. We had some things that we needed to deal with. And so we didn't clear him for lessons yet. So I rode him. I was getting on him 3-4 times a week probably, and doing groundwork as well. We worked a lot on the ground. He didn't know how to walk a circle on a lunge. He just thought the lunge meant go, go, go. So we were like, all right, well, there's some demons in the closet. And honestly, I'm very proud of him, how far he did come in the groundwork until the point where you see him with Ryan. I think it was 3 months in that we did a little dressage lesson with a local trainer. And that was the first time that he bucked. And he had never, ever shown a buck before that. Nothing that would have suggested that that was in there. I remember he bucked at the trot. And it was the tiniest little buck, kind of got him to a stop. And I was like, oh, well, that's all he's got, you know? And then the lesson kept going. You know, the trainer was like, well, let's try a canter. And I had never cantered him under saddle at this point. And I should have advocated for him that, like, no, we met a really good goal. And I think this is a good place to stop and end on a good note. And I didn't do that. You know, there's some moments where you grow as a rider as you ride more horses. And that was definitely one of them for me, because I could feel him getting very anxious, and it was like red flag after red flag, and I just put on those rose-colored glasses and ignored them all. And then he like launched into it. I tried to turn him into a circle to slow him down, but he just started bucking and bronking, and then he ended up turning right and I went left.
And then after that, I closed him down. I was like, nobody's working with him except for Rachel or me.
We backpedaled a bit, and it was a bit more trepidatious. Well, let's make sure everybody stays safe, right? And so we tried quite a few different things. We made sure that like saddle fit was good to go. We made sure that physical issues weren't in the mix, checked his feet, checked all that. And he was actually doing really, really well. You know, we got him trotting, you know, slow trot, fast trot, like, he was doing very well. And then he bucked again. So he started, you know, I could feel him tensing up, and I was just kind of like, all right, well, let's work through it. And then he started doing little crow hops, and I was like, oh, okay, let's keep pushing through it. And then he just wanted me off. He gave me warning 1, warning 2, warning 3. You know, I'm just pushing them all aside for truly no good reason other than that's what I had been taught. And then he just bugged me off. He was like, nope, we're done. You know, I've talked with Ryan about like, well, what made him buck? You know, I'm not a professional rider. For so long in my riding journey throughout my life, instructors have just kind of been like, push through it, make them go forward, push through the buck, fix it in the saddle mentality. And so that's what I had.
Your hands up, pick your hands up, jerk his head up, jerk it up. And now when he puts his head down, you jerk it up and you make him trot faster.
And so that was definitely a bit frustrating because we had gone through all the steps. We had done the hurdles. We had done the hard things and gotten somewhere in his training. And then there was just this like another huge setback. And now we're back to square one. Between myself and Beth and the other riders at the barn, we were like, where do we go from here? We don't know how to get it so that he is not so emotional when he feels overwhelmed, when he gets fast or whatever. We didn't know how to calm him down to make him safe again. I mean, it really felt like we were just in over our head. So he sat for a while. And I remember when Ryan first came to ride Gabe for the first YouTube video. And, you know, I had told him, I'm like, yeah, this horse, like, he just gets really tense. And we have no idea how to handle it. Whatever we are doing is apparently not the way to do it. And it's not fair to Gabe.
So when I was working with Gabe, he seemed like he really wanted to be a good horse. He had a lot of try. And what I mean by try is, even though he was very scared or had some fairly dramatic issues at times, he would work through it pretty easily. And so to me, he was not innately a really challenging horse. He was just a horse that needed some more understanding and had a lot of natural try. And so I wanted to continue his development because I really thought he could turn out as a success story to becoming a good lesson horse.
So Ryan rode him, and there were multiple times where he would turn to us and be like, this is a cool horse. Times it felt like I was trying to convince people that he was cool, like he's a fun horse to ride. You know, I'm trying to convince people of this while he's actively bucking me off. But a professional see that in him was really special to me because it made me feel very validated in what I felt in him, but also it made me feel so much hope for Gabe's future, you know. And then to have him suggest training him at his house, like that was that, like, I mean, it's hard to describe the emotions that were there with.
So Gabe is a pretty sensitive horse, and when he feels the rider bring their legs on, that's where a lot of problems can get created. And in my opinion, this is stuff that should have gotten resolved initially when he was getting started. If he would have gotten a really good start where he understood pressure really well and was really having good emotional fitness and good impulsion riding around, a lot of these things wouldn't be showing up at this time. But I felt like he was able to make the changes. And so with the right strategies, he could really go to the next level and be a lot safer. But if you're riding a horse around and you feel like you got to keep your legs off him because anything you touch is going to stir him up, that's not a very safe horse to ride. And so we really needed to get him through that issue.
My office mates and I were all into horses at my day job, and so the first Gabe video comes out, so we're like, oh my gosh, we're so excited. We log on real quick and we're watching it, and we're all just kind of speechless and just like looking at each other like, what? Because a friend here at the barn, who's also my office mate, she looks at me and she goes, huh, what if Gabe just needed someone to believe in him? And we both about cried, because it was really emotional for me to see Ryan, who, like, Ryan works with some really nice horses, like, and he's going, this is a good horse. I'm a big believer in, like, a lot of things happen for a reason, and I think Gabe was one of those. Like, I think he ended up in our hands and all fell in line, and we got him to the right person.
when I ride Gabe now that he's gone through the training and, you know, he's definitely different. It's so hard to describe with words, right? But feeling how much more confident he feels like even if he gets a little bit fast in the trot or gets a little emotional, the feeling of being able to bend him down and feel him soften is incredible. You could also just see the clear progression of him getting more confident throughout, you know, all the videos that we put on Patreon of Gabe progressing through the groundwork, under saddle, and how it all tied together. And I think as we integrate Gabe into the lesson program, you know, those videos on the Patreon are going to be integral to not only look back on and like revisit to remember things, but also to teach other instructors, or maybe we'll have another horse someday that has similar issues. Just to reference back, that's incredible. So I hope it's able to help somebody else who may have a similar issue, because I know how discouraged I felt, and we hope that Gabe's journey can be used to help somebody else on their journey, you know? I absolutely feel confident that there is a good plan in place for Gabe for his future.
Yep, this is Gabe's home for life. This is coming from the bottom of my heart, because whenever Ryan came to evaluate Gabe, I kind of thought, you know, that was it, right? Like, he's coming to evaluate and give us next steps. And whenever Ryan looked at me and said, I have an idea, I started to get little goosebumps, like, oh, what's the idea? And then whenever he suggested we drop him off at his house, my goosebumps, I could not get rid of the goosebumps on my arms, because what a gift. What an absolute gift. Like, thank you isn't enough. We try our best here at Liberty to save horses that would, you know, not make it otherwise. But we don't have the specialized training that Ryan Rose has. And so to get someone of his expertise to work with this horse and turn him around in like 2 short weeks, it's beyond words. Like I say, thank you will never be enough, but Ryan Rose is a really, really good human being, and I appreciate him helping us save another horse.
I hope you guys enjoyed seeing the continuation of Gabe and his journey to becoming a solid lesson horse. And keep in mind, if you guys want to see his whole process of development, you can do that on my Patreon page. I'll leave a link in the comments, and we'll see you on the next one.